Howdy folks, I'm That Literary Lady and this is your weekly literary tip. Today I want to talk about how authors can gain more credibility and more exposure by becoming freelance writers. But before I begin, I want to say that my heart goes out to those affected by the Colorado shootings. Many of you know that I was born in Colorado Springs and I was raised in Aurora and Denver, and I currently have a daughter who still lives in the area. So I have a special interest for what is going on back home. So again, please keep those people in your prayers. We all know that it will be some time before they regain a sense of normalcy. Now let's talk about freelance writing. Many authors look for ways that they can hustle, or for many ways on how they can gain more exposure, more credibility, and make more money. Well, why not try freelance writing? I do it myself, and although it's not a $100,000 paying job as of yet, I think I do quite well for myself. I currently am a freelance writer for ezinearticles.com and for examiner.com, and I also write for christianfictiononlinemagazine.com. Now, there are many resources that you can use to find out more about becoming a freelance writer. You don't need some fancy degree or some fancy license or anything like that, but you do need time and dedication to do it. So some resources that I have for you that will probably help you. Again, I said examiner.com and ezinearticles.com and Christian Fiction Online Magazine. But I've gotten some books here that I've gotten to help me with my writing. This may look familiar to many of you. This is the online, the Writer's Digest, or the Writer's Market from Writer's Digest. Now, if you look there, it says 2011. Now, if you want to be that type of person who spends 20 bucks and buys the new edition every single year, by all means do it. But I found, since I've been buying them since 2000, that the information from year to year doesn't change that often. So what I do now is I buy them every other year just to save my money and so on. But if you look inside the book, you will see that there are lots and lots and lots of freelance work available. There are several, let's say, for example, magazines who are looking for people to write about snow-capped mountains in Colorado, or bears in Yosemite, or how to knit a scarf. It's all in here. And even your famous magazines are looking for writers. Essence magazines for us African Americans, or however we're politically saying it today, or Vogue or Elle Magazine 17. It's all in here, and the guidelines on how to submit your writings to that particular company. And then also, one thing to keep in mind, when you're writing for someone or you're inquiring to write for a particular entity, find out what writing style they use, because I've noticed that even with writing for ezinearticles.com and writing for Examiner and some of the other entities that I write for offline, their writing style is different. Now, when I'm editing and doing my creative writing for myself and for my clients, this is what I use. This is pretty much my Bible here. This is the Chicago Manual of Style. And if you notice, it says 15, and we all know that there's actually a 16. And of course, my reasoning for not buying one every year, because these things are fairly expensive. This particular one cost me $55, and it was on sale because Borders was going out of business. But they usually run a lot higher than this. So unless you want to, pay for a book every year, that information doesn't quite change that much, I would say buy it every other year. But then also, the Chicago Manual Style has a website, so you can join that site as well and keep up to date on what's going on in case something happens in between the year that you buy your manuals. So I use that mostly, again, for my creative writing, for my fiction writing, for myself and for my clients. As you can see, I got all my little tabs here that I mark off. A lot of people are still using two spaces after a period, when now the rule is you only need one. And some things have changed, and people really should do their research, and I would say get one of these. And if you don't get one every year, at least get one and go from there. The next resource I have is some of the articles that I write. They go with this writing style. I didn't even know that Yahoo had a writing style, but they do. And as you can see, it's for a lot of blogging, newsletters, and other entities that use the Yahoo writing style. So I use this a little bit. I don't use this a whole lot. There is a company that I write for on occasion that does use this. And so that's another one. Another one that everyone should be familiar with is the AP, which is the Associated Press style book. And this is used a lot in articles, news articles that you see on CNN.com and things like that. So I write for a couple entities offline that require this. So it's good to invest in these books. Again, not every year, but at least have them in your library so that you can refer to them at a moment's notice, especially if you're applying for a job, a freelance job, and you actually get the job. You want to make sure you have these writing style books in your library. Now, some other resources that I use to start when I started freelancing, and I still refer back to, is the Wellfed Writer. And I actually got this one from Borders, but you can actually get this on WritersDigest.com, and they have a bookstore. They have a lot of books that are so valuable to any writer, whether you're doing freelance, whether you're an author, a blogger, or whatever. And then also they have a companion, and excuse me, this companion came with that Writer's Digest manual. It was extra, but it's a companion for online writing markets. And again, you can find this one at WritersDigest.com. Submit your request on the topics that are relative to what you know, and articles that you know that you can write about and you feel comfortable writing about. But it doesn't hurt to step outside of your comfort zone and write about something else that you're not comfortable with writing, because you never know, that may be the article that may get you in the door to get an exclusive feature, to get you out there more on the internet, and get you more noticed. So I apologize for my nervousness. I'm still waiting to hear from my daughter, so I'm kind of nervous, but I didn't want the week to go by without giving a literary tip. So your literary tip this week is to look into freelance writing to get more exposure, to get more credibility, and to make a little more money. And we could all use a little more money. This has been That Literary Lady, and this has been your weekly literary tip.